This is the Freedom Plaza, the park called Platter Park in Bolivar. Bolivar is a small town in the middle of Missouri. This little town can have some special things. Where I live, I've lived here for almost decades. And this park I've been visited several times, but still have question about why it's called Freedom Plaza and why the park's name is John Platter. Let's see who is John Platter. So let's see the monument. John Platter is the picture on a stone monument. John Platter. Morning. And John Platter was born in Joplin, June 4, 1918, graduating from Joplin High School in 1935 and is Missouri, and Stanford University in 1941. And he was in the Army ROTC at both schools, attending a commission of a second LT in the U.S. Army Reserve Corps. After that, he was called to active duty in the Philippines in July 1941. His treatment as a POW there is detailed in his book, Survivor. His military honors include a Purple Heart, the overpowering feeling of gratitude to the Almighty I will take to my grave. John wrote in his book about his return to U.S. Army on November 4, 1944. So John, let's see on this side. Okay, this is the picture cut into the stone. Beautiful picture. Let's see the words here. Courage is the quality of God, had the same fit to dispense with utmost care. The man of Batham was his children favorites. This is written by Major General Edward P. King in U.S. Commanding General Luzon forces in 1942. Okay, now, so this is a round monument square. Let's see the first description about the story in the history during World War II. This is so-called Not All Survived. Not All Survived. John Platter, in his book Survivor, wrote that Catholic chaplain Joseph Burbis LaFleur was one of the finest Christian men I have ever met. That was a prelude to the relating POW experience in Lausanne when locusts covered one corner of the compound. John asked chaplain what to make of all the locusts. He responded that John the Baptist live on locusts and honey, and that at least they could now have half of John's menu. The locusts were cooked that night in a barbecue shaving cream. Father LaFleur, early into his priesthood in Louisiana, enlisted in 1941, saying, I'm volunteering for military service because the other men do not have a choice. I would be the first of his many sacrifices for fellow servicemen. He was captured and imprisoned after refusing an opportunity to leave the Philippines before the fall into the Japanese. He stayed because not all of his men could go. Repeatedly, he risked his own safety to serve the needs of the others, a fact not lost on those he served. He lost his life when U.S. torpedoes sank the Japanese freighter Shinyo Maru ship with 750 Americans aboard. The boat was transporting prisoners to Japan without flying a white flag, signifying their presence. Father LaFleur was last seen persuading his men to leave the hold of a vessel. I'm sorry, I moved before he did, blessing the men and helping them up the ladder. It it is not known how he became one of 662 perished, but 82 men, including John Platter, survived the explosion, Japanese gunfire, and a long swim to shore into the safe hands of Filipino guerrillas. For his many acts of bravery, Father Lafleur was awarded posthumously the Distinguished Service Cross, the Bronze Star, and the Purple Heart. At the time of his dedication, efforts are underway to secure for him the most prestigious Medal of Honor. Okay, now let's see the story in Bataan Death March. John Platter's unit was attacked by air on the day of invasion, December 8, 1941. They survived the low rations, disease, and fierce combat with no chance of reinforcement for 4 months. On April 9, 1942, 11,796 Americans were surrendered to the Japanese. This was the largest capture of a U.S. military force in history. John and other POWs were marched in the vicinity of Maribols for several days, staging for a march north through the Bataan Peninsula. For John, the death march began April 12. He suffered from malaria, fever, undernourishment, and dehydration. The men marched 4 abreast in the stifling heat. Men were beaten, stabbed with a sword and a bayonet, shot, run over, deliberately kept from drinking water. Their captors were ill-prepared to provide food, transportation, or sanitary conditions. They believed any surrendered foe to be dishonored and treated them as such. Between 600 and 650 Americans died during the march. John believed he reached Camp O'Donnell on April 18, 1942. Thus ended 4 months of combat and 9 days of marching, and began 2 years and 5 months of incarceration. There were no brass bands this day with fanfares of trumpets or roar of drums echoing songs of glory. John Platter. So this is the park. This is a very sad, tragic story about Second World War, and the park is beautiful. And so let me go. So this is the back of Freedom Plaza. Now I understand what's going on in the history. So John Platter was captured, and he deeply understood and appreciated the freedom, the true meaning of freedom. That is sacrifices with blood and life for the country. And so this is so-called Plaza, Freedom Plaza, in the memory of the people, soldiers fighting for the freedom. And it's a park is named after John Platter, called Platter Park. Very beautiful park, right? See the surrounding our park. And this is a dog, my best friend.